Folks, we are trying to plan out how we're going to feed our entire family of 6 for the next 12 months without buying any meat from the grocery store. Right now, the math isn't totally adding up.
Between our chickens, lambs, and pigs, our family has some big decisions to make in terms of ensuring our food security. Today, we're walking you through our process of determining how much we have versus how much we need. We used to be that family that would grab rotisserie chickens from the store on busy nights. That's over. Now, if we didn't raise it, we don't eat it. And that means saying goodbye to store-bought bacon, deli meat, and those last-minute burger runs.
Now, if you joined us last week, you saw that we brought 2 lambs to butcher, and I wanted to lay out all the cuts that we got to give you an idea of how much meat that actually is. If you're just getting started, it can be really hard to sort of conceptualize, okay, 150-pound animal, how much meat are you going to get from that? All of the math that I'm doing today, I'm going to be using 2 sheep. If you're thinking of raising just one, just cut all those numbers in half. So we brought 2 lambs. One of them was 65 pounds of meat and the other was 75 pounds, so 140 pounds total. When you do the math, our family eats about 3 pounds of meat between 6 people for one dinner. Take that 140 pounds divided by 3, and you get 46. So that's 46 meals that we can get from all of this lamb. Now there's 52 weeks in a year, so it's not quite a full year, but we can almost have lamb once a week for the next 12 months.
It's always a little bittersweet to say goodbye because in all honesty, we really love all of the animals on our homestead and do everything in our power to make sure they live happy lives. I think having this connection with our food is part of what makes this lifestyle so valuable.
I was very impressed with how much meat we actually got. There's 9 packs of lamb burger. Those are 1 to 2 pounds a piece. There's, I think, 16 lamb chops. We've got 4 different spare ribs here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different lamb roasts and 4 leg of lamb. If you're considering raising lamb or raising sheep, it's a really delicious meat. We had some of the lamb burger with our spaghetti the other night. And before somebody calls me out, I did use 2 packs of the lamb burger with the spaghetti the other night. So rather than the 9 that I said we actually got 11. It doesn't taste like beef. It's a lot more lean. I'd compare it more probably to turkey burger. It's a really nice kind of change up if you're used to having chicken and beef all the time, especially when you get into lamb chops and spare ribs, you really can't beat it. Now these were a little bit older than most connoisseurs would probably prefer to have them butchered, so I don't know where the cutoff age is of when it stops being a lamb and it becomes a sheep, but these were about a year old, so I suppose technically they're not lamb, but it says lamb on the package. And I know somebody's gonna ask why we didn't butcher these ourselves. I've never butchered a lamb before, so I'd rather leave it to a professional to make sure we get all of the cuts that we wanna get and to make sure that we're utilizing all of the meat as efficiently as possible. Hey there, beautiful. You like weeding?
So even though this video is mostly about the meat that we're going to be supplying our family with for the next 12 months, I feel like it wouldn't be right to leave out the garden food that we are also supplying our family with. This year, our garden was half the size and we expanded it mid-season because we realized we needed more food. We have 10 cabbages here. I love making sauerkraut. It's one of our favorite little munchy things that we get from the garden, and they're doing really well. I do plan on digging into canning this year, and canning the sauerkraut is one of my goals. One of our main focuses is the tomatoes. Cameron loves cooking homemade Italian food, so this was a big thing for him this year, and he's done a wonderful job. They're huge. I've never seen tomatoes this big. Food security is one of those things that it doesn't matter what age you are, it is still worth it to dive into.
The next meat we're going to be talking about, which is going to be a huge staple for us over the next 12 months, and it is every single year, is chicken. We raise more chicken than any other animal. Now maybe you're just getting started on raising your own food and it's news to you that there's certain breeds of chicken that are raised for meat and other breeds that are raised for egg laying. If you're looking to put a sizable amount of meat in your freezer, you want to go with a meat breed like a Cornish cross, which is what we use because of how quickly they grow out and how big they get. So you're going to put a lot more pounds of meat in your freezer with a meat breed than you are with an egg laying breed who typically doesn't have a lot of meat on them just because of their body type. This trusty old chicken tractor here, we were really really constrained on size last year, and we weren't able to raise as many birds as we wanted to. We only raised, I think, 35. This year, because we're doing the 12-month challenge, I have to make some modifications for this to be able to facilitate more birds. Now, based on my math, we're going to need like 100 birds. I'm not going to be able to fit 100 birds in one sitting into this. So I'm likely going to do 2 different sessions with 50 birds each. In order to contain 50 birds, I have to modify this, I think, to be more of a mobile roof. And then I'm going to use the Premier One netting to extend their outdoor area so they can keep grazing on grass and they can get exercise. Now my plan with the chicken tractor is either to extend it out this way and reattach this door to the new front, which I think is going to be a pain with how old and dead and rotten some of the wood is on there. So I may just remove this door entirely and surround the whole thing with electric netting so that they have free range during the day and they can still go under cover at night. I think that may be the easiest solution because I have a ton of electric netting and I would really rather not build this out. So the reconstruction of that chicken tractor is really going to be the wheel in the machine that determines whether or not we can raise that 500 pounds of chicken that we're going to need before fall. We'll keep you posted over the next few weeks as to how we resolve that. Now that brings me to our last bit of livestock, which is these pigs right behind me here. Now we started raising cooney pigs about a year ago, and the whole experience has been really great. We had a larger sow that had piglets last fall, and this is the last of the 2 piglets that are remaining. We've actually been selling them off because despite how friendly and awesome they are, we're actually transitioning to a different breed. The only issue with cooney pigs is that they take about 2 years to get to full grown. They can get to about butcher weight in a year if you do everything right. Other comparable breeds grow out a lot quicker, and just for our situation, I would rather not be raising pigs through the winter time. Our plan is to start in the spring with Hampshire pigs, and if we start in the spring, by the end of summer, we'll be able to butcher and put actually more meat in the freezer. We have this black pig right here is going to the butcher in the next month, and he's about 150 pounds, and then the red one right there is about 175, and that one is also going to the butcher. The black one we have sold to a friend, so unfortunately that won't go in our freezer, but the red one will, and we'll probably get roughly 70 pounds of meat off of that.
Now there is one exception to this 12 months no grocery store meat challenge, and we'll explain that in a minute, but first let's go over the math. Here's where it gets fuzzy. If our family of 6 eats 3 pounds of meat times 365 days is 1,095 pounds of meat to feed our family for 12 months. Subtract the 140 pounds of lamb and 500 pounds of chicken, and we're left with a deficit of 455 pounds that is still unaccounted for. Now take into account the 70 pounds from the 1 pig, and we're left with 385 pounds. That's where beef comes in.
So the one exception, the one caveat to this 12-month quest that we're on, I told Brianna, I was very honest with her, I said I can't give up steak. So she agreed if it was sourced locally, we could still have beef. Now we're gonna need some ground beef too. I can get steaks locally. Luckily we have a friend that raises cows up for meat, so that will be our resource for the remainder of the pounds that we need for the next year. So I'm actually headed right now to that very same friend's farm. Now the same place that we're going to be getting the beef is where we get our milk every week. And we just spoke with her this last week, and she's going to be getting out of milk, said she needed a break, which is totally understandable. We're going to have to find somewhere else to get that. So there's an Amish family that lives a little bit north of us, and that's where we get our butter and cream cheese and yogurt and everything like that. We should be able to source our milk from there, but I'm going to pick up the milk today and then probably grab some beef too. Looking forward to seeing what they've got here. I'd like some ground beef and obviously grab our milk. I also promised the kids I'd get them a cinnamon roll treat, so I'm gonna grab some of those too. Oh yeah, delicious. That should help us out for the week. 2 gallons of milk, 5 pounds of beef, and some fresh cinnamon rolls.
It's taken us 10 years to get to a place where we feel confident in taking the leap to be self-sufficient when it comes to the meat our family consumes. We did the math for a year, but we didn't start there. If you're new to this lifestyle, it's important to start with small, manageable goals that will pave the way for cleaner living in the long run. Start with a week and work your way up to a month, relying less every day on the grocery store, but make sure to not wear yourself out and enjoy the journey you're on. Make sure to grab that link in the description for a free PDF we made for you with 7 recipes we'll be using a lot over the next year.